Right now, somewhere deep inside your brain, a structure smaller than an almond is deciding whether you are safe. It made that decision before you finished reading that sentence, before your eyes reached the full stop, before the part of your brain responsible for conscious thought, the part you consider to be you, had any idea there was a decision to make. This is not a metaphor. This is the mechanism. For most of human history, people assumed that when they felt afraid, their brain had assessed the situation, weighed the evidence, and concluded there was danger. The feeling of fear seemed logical, rational, the result of thinking. That picture is wrong. And once you understand what actually happens in the first 2 seconds after your brain encounters something threatening, what fires, what floods, what gets overruled, you will never experience anxiety the same way again. By the end of this video, you will have a more accurate model of what is happening inside your skull during fear than most people who have lived with anxiety their entire lives. But the part that changes everything is not what fires first. It is what fires before the rest of your brain even knows there is a problem. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. Always talk to your doctor or a qualified mental health professional before making any changes to how you manage anxiety or your mental health. Now, let us start with the architecture. Your brain is not one thing. It is a collection of structures that evolved at different times for different purposes and that are running simultaneously, often in conflict, every second of your life. Think of it like this. Imagine a building that has been renovated 3 times over 3,000 years. The original structure, old, dense, built for survival, is still in the basement. A newer section was added on top. And the most recent addition sits at the very top of the building, all glass and precision, handling language and planning and the idea of a future. These 3 layers do not always agree. The basement does not wait for the glass office at the top to weigh in. Right in the middle of this architecture, not the basement, not the glass office, but somewhere in between, sits a small, dense, almond-shaped cluster of neurons that has been running the same program since long before humans existed. It is called the amygdala, and it does not think. It reacts. BodyVault AI uses AI-powered 3D visualization to explain what science already knows about the human brain. We are here to educate, not prescribe. So what exactly is the amygdala doing, and why does understanding it change everything about how you experience fear? Here is the fact that changes everything. Your amygdala receives sensory information before your cortex does. Not a fraction of a second before, meaningfully before. The signal that a threat might be present reaches the amygdala through what researchers call the low road, a fast, direct pathway from the thalamus that bypasses the cortex entirely. It carries a rough, low-resolution version of the incoming information, not a full picture, an impression, a sketch, and the amygdala acts on that sketch. Did you know your amygdala can trigger a full fear response from a stimulus your conscious mind has not yet seen? Studies have shown that people can react to a threat image with measurable physiological responses before they can report consciously seeing it. Your body is already responding before you know what it is responding to. Think of it like this. Imagine a building's security system that does not wait for the security guard to review the camera footage before sounding the alarm. It scans the image, pattern matches against a threat database, and triggers the alarm in 0.02 of a second. The guard, your conscious awareness, arrives after the alarm has already fired. The amygdala is that security system. And here is what makes this genuinely important to understand. The low-road pathway sacrifices accuracy for speed. The sketch the amygdala receives is imprecise. It can and does trigger false alarms, reacting to things that resemble a threat without being one. A coiled rope in low light, a sudden movement at the edge of vision, a tone of voice that sounds like the one attached to a bad memory. The amygdala does not wait to find out if it is wrong. But here is where it gets really interesting. Because what the amygdala does the instant it fires is something most people have never fully understood. The moment the amygdala detects a potential threat, in as little as 0.02 of a second, It sends signals outward in multiple directions simultaneously. It is not a single alarm. It is a broadcast, downward to the brainstem, triggering automatic responses that do not require conscious thought. Pupils dilate, heart rate increases, breathing becomes shallower and faster. These changes begin before you are aware you are afraid. Outward to the hypothalamus, which activates the stress hormone cascade, a signal that reaches the adrenal glands above your kidneys and begins releasing adrenaline into your bloodstream. The heart rate increase you felt was not your conscious mind deciding to be scared. It was this signal, already traveling before awareness arrived. And upward to the cortex. The message that something may be wrong is sent to the conscious mind, but it arrives after the body has already responded. This is why you can find yourself with a racing heart and shallow breathing before you have consciously decided the situation is threatening. Your amygdala sent the body into threat mode. Your cortex is still reviewing the evidence. Think of it like this. The amygdala is the body's fire alarm. By the time the building management team in the glass office has assembled and reviewed the camera footage, the sprinklers are already running. Did you know the amygdala does not distinguish between a physical threat and a social threat with the same precision the cortex does? A presentation in front of an audience, a difficult conversation, an unread message from someone whose opinion matters, these can trigger the same cascade as a physical danger. The amygdala pattern matches against a threat library built from every fear experience you have ever had. And that library was built largely before you had the language to question it. Now here's the part that most explanations of anxiety stop before they reach. The cortex, the glass office at the top of the building, has the ability to send signals back down to the amygdala, to review the camera footage, to assess whether the alarm was warranted, to modulate the response. But this top-down regulation pathway is slower than the bottom-up alarm. And under conditions of chronic stress, sleep deprivation, or sustained anxiety, research suggests this top-down pathway becomes less effective. The amygdala becomes more reactive. The alarm fires more readily, and the cortex's ability to say, "It is fine, stand down," becomes harder to assert over the noise of the alarm that is already ringing. The physical sensation of anxiety that people describe, the racing heart, the tightness in the chest, the feeling that something is wrong without knowing what, is not a failure of your mind. It is your amygdala doing exactly what it was built to do. In a modern world that contains far more social and psychological threats than physical ones, running a program that was never designed to distinguish between them. Here is the part worth stopping on. Your amygdala fires before your conscious mind knows what it is firing at. Your body responds before you decide to respond. Your heart rate rises, your pupils dilate, your stress hormones begin flooding before the part of you that you consider to be you has received the briefing. You are not causing your anxiety. Your amygdala is running a 2/100th of a second threat assessment on everything around you right now and sending the results to your body before sending them to your awareness. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is a security system running a program so ancient it predates language, pattern matching the present against every threatening thing you have ever experienced. In a world that contains threats the program was never written to handle. Did you know the amygdala has a stronger connection to emotional memory than almost any other brain structure? Memories encoded during high emotional arousal, fear, grief, shock, are stored with higher fidelity and recalled more easily than neutral memories. This is why a small specific sensory detail from a frightening past experience can trigger a full fear response years later. The amygdala recognizes the detail. It fires. Your body responds. And the cortex arrives a moment later, looking around for the threat that has already sent the alarm. Which brings us to the thing about the amygdala that surprised us most in researching this video. The amygdala is not your enemy. It is the oldest protective system in your brain, built over hundreds of millions of years to keep something alive. And for most of that time, it worked. It still works. What has changed is the world it is operating in, a world of deadlines, notifications, social pressures, and unread messages. A world where the threats are invisible, chronic, and carry no clear moment of resolution. The amygdala was built for a world where the threat either caught you or did not. It has no program for a threat that never fully arrives and never fully leaves. The next time you feel your heart rate rise before you have consciously identified what you are afraid of, that is not your mind breaking down. That is your amygdala doing its job. 2/100ths of a second ahead of the rest of you, every single time. Next week, we follow the signal that fires after the amygdala, the hormone cascade that floods your body when the alarm goes off. It reaches 12 different systems in 90 seconds. And what it does to each one is something most people who have ever felt stressed have never been shown. This is happening inside your brain right now. So tell me, what is the thing your body responds to before your mind catches up? You know the feeling. One word. Drop it below.